Well, hello everyone, I'm Jasmine Sidhu and I welcome you all to my online tutorials. Now before I should talk about my today's video, let me give you a quick reminder that if you are viewing my channel, you are liking my videos, please do not forget to like and share my videos. And if you have still not subscribed my channel, quickly go and subscribe my channel and do not forget to press the bell icon because then only you will be getting the notifications for all my upcoming videos. So let's begin with our today's session. In my today's video, I have taken up the explanation of chapter 6 of Beehive book prescribed by CBSE for 9th class students. The name of the chapter is My Childhood and it has been beautifully penned down by APJ Abdul Kalam. If I talk about this eminent personality, his full name was Abul Pakir Jalaluddin Abdul Kalam, and he was born on 15 October 1931 at Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu. He was an Indian aerospace scientist and politician who served as the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007. He was also known as Missile Man of India for his work on the development of ballistic missile and launch vehicle technology. And in the picture you could see many awards were conferred upon him. He was the recipient of Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan and the highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna. Eventually he passed away on 27 July 2015 while delivering a lecture at Indian Institute of Management at Shillong, Meghalaya, India. The reason of his death was cardiac arrest. So this was about the author. Now let me give you a brief introduction of the chapter. This chapter, My Childhood, is an extract from APJ Abdul Kalam's autobiography, Wings of Fire. And this autobiography, it was translated into 13 languages. In this autobiographical account, Kalam talks about his childhood days. He describes his family, his house, his childhood friends, and his experiences. But he tries to give us a very strong message that in order to reform the social systems that are prevalent in Indian society, like caste and status prejudice, one must be ready to confront obstacles without losing one's temper. Tolerance, patience, acceptance, broad mindedness, and brotherhood, such traits are essential for an all round growth. And if we see the initial paragraphs of the chapter, Kalam is talking about his family. He says that he was born in a middle class family in Rameshwaram. His father's name was Jalaluddin and mother's name was Ashiyamma. He had a very secure childhood, both materially as well as emotionally. And if we talk about his house, his ancestral house was a large Pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. With all the necessary things which are required by the family was provided by the father. Though his father, he didn't take much of formal education, but he possessed great innate wisdom. He couldn't cater for the luxuries, but he catered for the basic needs of the family like food, shelter, clothes, medicine. Everything was provided to the family. And Kalam had a big family, but his mother Ashiyama was a great support to his father, and she fed more outsiders than all his family members put together. So eventually Kalam inherited the values of honesty, self-discipline, goodness and kindness from his parents. And then came the era of the Second World War. When the Second World War broke, Kalam was 8 years old and he witnessed that there was a sudden demand of stammered seeds in the market. He didn't understand the reason, but he ensured that he used to collect these seeds and he used to sell them and earn an anna for this job. And he was very happy to earn that anna because it was a big amount for him. And Rameshwaran being an isolated place, the war didn't make much impact. But the only problem which arose was that the train's halt at the station was stopped. As a result, the bundles of newspapers which were distributed in that region, that was Dina money, right? That was becoming a problem because those bundles have to be thrown out from the running train. Now, Kalam's cousin Samsuddin, who used to distribute these newspapers in Rameshwaran, he sought Kalam's help to catch those bundles, and Kalam he got a chance to earn his first wage, which gave him immense self-confidence and a sense of pride that he was earning at such a young age. Then further he talks about his friendship diaries. There were three best friends of Kalam, right? Though, one quote is coming to my mind. Kalam said that one best book is equal to 100 good friends, but one good friend is equal to a library. So he had three best friends, Ramananda Shastri, Aravindan, and Shiva Prakashan. All these three boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. Ramananda Shastri, he was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri. He was the highest priest of Rameshwaran temple, and later when Ramanandan he grew up, he took the priesthood from his father. Aravindan, he went into the transport business of arranging transport for pilgrims, and Shiva Prakashan, he became a catering contractor for Southern Railways. And Kalam's family, it used to arrange boats with special platform during the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyalam ceremony. The platform was used for carrying idols of Lord Rama from the temple to the wedding site Ramtirtha, which was a pond near Kalam's house. So that was how he has grown up in such an environment which was very, very religious. And his bedtime stories from his mother and grandmother were also based on the stories from Ramayana and the life of Prophet. So the family was really religious minded, and that's how it helped Kalam to shape his future life. And then Kalam talks about certain incidences which left deep impression on Kalam's young mind. And one of the incidences he's talking about is when he was in fifth standard. A new teacher came to his class and he didn't like that Muslim boy was sitting on the first bench next to a Brahmin boy, as Kalam used to wear the cap which marked him as a Muslim, and Ramananda Shastri he used to wear a sacred thread called as Janayu, which made him, know that he was a Muslim boy, or he was a Hindu boy. So the teacher didn't like that a Muslim boy was sitting with the Hindu boy. He sent Kalam to the back seat simply because of social rankings. When this was told by the children to their respective parents, Shastri's father summoned the teacher and told him to apologize or leave the school. This made the teacher not only regret his action, but he was also reformed. Then Kalam talks about another memorable incident. Now, this incident is of a science teacher. Right? There was Shiva Subramania Iyer. He was Kalam's science teacher, and he invited him to his house for a meal. And the teacher was actually an Orthodox Brahmin, and he had his wife who was very conservative. She was horrified at the idea of her husband inviting a Muslim boy to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. This idea was not welcomed by the wife. She refused to serve Kalam, but Iyer, he didn't lose his temper. He served the boy with his own hands, and he sat with him, ate with him, and the wife was noticing very minutely the same way the science teacher was eating in the same fashion Kalam was eating. He was having the same two eyes, same hands. So she noticed each and everything. And when the meal was over, Iyer he invited Kalam to come for a meal in the coming week again. Now, second time when Kalam came, though he was hesitant, he told the teacher that his coming to his house is not welcomed by the wife. But the teacher, he very calmly told that if you want to, bring a change in the society, you need to confront such hurdles. You should not run away from such situations, right? Change could happen only with courage. And the next time when Kalam went to the teacher's house, there was a great change in the attitude of the wife. She herself took him to her kitchen and served him food with her own hands. So this was a very memorable incident remembered by Kalam. And then towards the end of the chapter, the freedom of India was in the offing. The Second World War was over, right? People were celebrating the independence of India, and following Gandhiji's plea, the entire nation was hopeful of building their country themselves. And during that time, Kalam, he also sought permission from his father that he should be allowed to go for higher education at the district quarters at Ramanathapuram, right? And the father, he was pretty sure because he understood one thing, that you need to give wings to your children to grow, right? And he gave him permission willingly because he wanted that his son should grow professionally, right? He even convinced Kalam's mother by telling her that parents should not thrust their ideas upon their children, as they have their own way of thinking. He says a very beautiful quote over here by Khalil Gibran, that your children are not your children, they are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. Right? You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. Right? So with this, he convinced the mother, and she understood that parents should not force their ideas or their wishes onto their children. Every child is a unique identity, and each child has the right to live his life and flourish in the society. So that's all in today's chapter, children. I hope you might have liked the explanation. If you have liked the video, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.